Everybody, welcome to Country Girl with Kathy Jarvis, and it is in June and second week of June, and a lot of the things in the garden have really started to take off, and some of the things are almost finished, and people are wondering, can they plant anything else? Or I got some bare spots, can I put anything in them? Or my peas are just about done, can I plant something? Yes. The answer is yes. So we're going to talk about some of the things that are going on in the garden right now. Greenhouses right now are getting into their hot period. June and July and August are the hottest periods for the greenhouses. So what can you grow in them in the summer, especially if they're not cooled or they don't have that many vents and they get quite hot? You can grow anything that loves heat. Sweet corn, okra, peppers, tomatoes, cucumbers. I have all those growing in the greenhouses. Also, you can do your Swiss chard. They usually don't mind the hot weather too much. You can do your carrots and your celery. The things that you have to be a little bit more careful with and control the temperatures, or at least shade them a little bit, would be your lettuces and cabbage and stuff like that. The cabbages and the Brussels sprouts are more of a cool weather crop. And that brings us to what we should be planting in the greenhouses. Most of the greenhouses can take herbs. Herbs love greenhouses. In fact, the little greenhouse on the end here is what I call my herb house because it has nothing but herbs in it. Okay, so you can see the little herb garden is doing really, really well. And this is also where I put the compost and where I do the potting up. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, starting some seeds. Okay, it's getting time to start preparing seeds for the fall garden. Now, a lot of times you want to get these started ahead of time so you can just transplant them into the garden when you see a spot, or into the greenhouse when you have a spot come up. And some of the things that you should start now would be your cabbage seeds, your broccoli seeds, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts. You can start them now so that when the spaces open up, you can just pop in the little seedlings. You can also start anything else that you want to start for fall. Alright, some of the seeds that you can direct sow in June, either in the garden or out into the greenhouses, would be your rocket, your beans, bush beans, po beans, snap beans, lima beans can all be seeded now. You can still grow beets, Swiss chard, your corn, field corn, sweet corn, popcorn can all go into the ground. I did find out this year that my corn works much better, germinates much better if I soak it overnight before I plant it. Also, you can still plant cucumbers, watermelons, cantaloupes, butternut squash, okra, your bunching onions. You can still do peas. I would plant my peas in the shade area where they get a little bit of shade. You can still plant peppers, pumpkins, radishes, summer squash, zucchinis, your winter squashes, your tomatoes, and your watermelons can still be planted outside or inside. And also you can still plant herbs, and you can still plant some flowers. So there's a lot of things that you can plant in June. So let's take a quick look and see what we've got going and how things are going. The herb garden is doing really, really well. we've got everything coming up now. Don't have, except for the thyme. I replanted the thyme again, and it still hasn't come up. But everything else is doing wonderfully, and it's getting ready to harvest. We can harvest almost any of it. Well, we can start harvesting it at any time now. The rosemary you can get bunches off of. Your mint you can get bunches off of. Basil. In fact, it's best to pinch them back, even if you're not going to be using them. Pinch them back so they sprout out more. So that's the little herb garden. The tomatoes are doing really well. I need to get out here and wrap them around. Just very gently take them and wrap them around the string so they continue upward. Remove any stalks at the bottom. And as you can see, they're starting to flower. And over here, I actually have a little, there he is, a little tomato starting. So these aren't doing too bad. Over in the melon patch, this area here is where I'm going to put, I've got a couple more tomatoes I'm going to put in here with the stakes. I'm going to do that later on today, since it rained good last night. So the ground is nice and soft so I can work on it. The plants here are doing wonderful. They were just transplanted a couple weeks, about a week ago, so they're doing really good. This is my melon patch. Now, I have used this black plastic in the melon patch for the last 3 years, and it's done really, really well. It's keeping the weeds down, and the melons have no problem growing through it. So, it's not the nicest looking thing right now, but once those vines cover it, you don't even see it, and it keeps the weeds out. So that's really nice. Let's go over here and see what's going on with the bee garden. These are the irises I just transplanted this year. They're not doing that great. The Shasta daisies that we started from seed last year, are doing wonderful. The mullein plant, it's just a wild flower, but I like it, so I left it. These irises have already bloomed. This is the phlox. And as you can see, my hollyhocks are getting ready to bloom. Alright, over here we have spike trouble. The potato patch is doing well. I still have to weed and mosh this strawberry bed. But let's go and look at some of the other problems. Green beans are doing fine. You can still plant those. It's important to check your cabbages and your kale at this time of year, especially every day. As you can see, I have some damage here. This is caused by a cabbage worm. Right there is one of them. The best way I found to get rid of them is just like that. But you have to check your plants every day. Every leaf. This leaf is going. You see those? Can the camera focus on them? Those are little cabbage worms. They're just starting out. Don't compost this. Don't put it in your garden. Don't just drop it. Put it in a bag. Get it out of your garden. Get it off your property. More worms. Now, if you get an infestation really bad and you don't have the time to do what I'm doing, then your best bet would be to take some BT and spray them with some BT. You could use neem oil also. I like BT better. It's all a matter of preference. As you can tell, I have no problem with squishing these things. Some people do. Okay, in the low greenhouse, I decided to take out the lettuce that had gone to seed and the Swiss chard that was left from last summer, because I've got the new Swiss chard there and more Swiss chard there. So I took this out. That will allow the parsnips a little bit more room to grow. And I also transplanted a couple of the tomatoes that I had spares in here, so they'll last a little bit longer. The peas are just about done. We'll harvest them and then probably end up taking those out within the next week. These peas back here were planted about 2 weeks later, so they've got a little bit of time on them yet. And then I hoed the peppers. Hello, Spike. Trouble's following us. And Blue is right there. They have to be in the picture. Anyway, I weeded these on this side, and I used the stirrup hoe, which I simply love. You just back and forth, and it gets the weeds. And you don't have to bend over. You don't have to pull them. Very easy. And it just cuts them off. So that's why I use on that side. On this side with the cabbages, I just have the weed fabric. And this has been down since the beginning of this greenhouse. So that's going on 4 years, 3-4 years. And it's held up really nice. And you get a few weeds in between them, but you have to pull them out. But it's done a good job. And for individual plants that are separated like that, weed fabric really, and plastic really seems to be a good object, a good solution for me. So I hope you enjoyed this little video. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and dream big, follow that dream, and see you in the next video. Bye, everybody. Okay, everybody, let's go. Come on. Come on. Kitty, 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 come on. Come on. Let's all go. Come on. Let's go. Let's go to the house. Kitty, 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 kitty. Hey, Prince. Hey, Fluffy.